There are only two kinds of people in this world: the ones who can truly appreciate the sheer majesty of a 12-foot animatronic reindeer. His name is Rudolph II, by the way, who can light up a synchronized Christmas light show bright enough to be seen from outer space. And then, well, there's the type who belong in a cave in the dark, preferably somewhere with no Wi Fi. My neighbor Brenda, let me tell you, she doesn't just fall into that latter category. She belly flops into it loud and proud. So picture this. It's early December Tuesday night, about 7:15. I'm sitting in what I like to call mission control. That's my living room to normal people. Got a steaming mug of hot chocolate in one hand, and yes, I pile on the marshmallows because I am a fully grown man, and, well, who's going to stop me? In the other hand, I've got the remote for my homemade light controller, which, let's be honest, is the closest thing I'll ever get to running NASA. Now, outside, the rest of the street is just bland, beige. The suburbs in winter, if you know, you know. But my yard, my yard's where all the magic happens. 3 weekends in November, risking frostbite and gravity, I climbed up and down that rickety ladder to hang 40,000 LEDs. The centerpiece, Rudolph II himself. He's not just any decoration. He's an animatronic legend with a deep head nod motor and a nose so bright you'd think it was powered by nuclear fusion. I take a long sip of my cocoa, look out the big bay window, and just bask in it. The lights are fading back and forth, icy blues melting into warm whites, all to this low frequency broadcast of Trans Siberian Orchestra, FM radio baby. It's a work of art. Honestly, that light show is probably the only thing holding my seasonal blues at bay. And then, bam, the whole universe goes dark. Not a flicker, not a warning, just darkness. 1 second, my yard's the Vegas Strip. The next, it's a black hole. Not even the hum from the transformer box outside. Pure, absolute silence. From the kitchen, Sarah, my wife, calls out, "Did you trip the breaker again?" She's always worrying about the toaster and the lights setting the house on fire. I didn't trip anything. I yell back, already bolting out of my chair. That wasn't some tiny hiccup. That was a full-on disaster. I rush to the garage, half expecting the breaker panel to look like it's been through a war. But no. Every switch live. The fridge is still humming. The house lights are on. It's just the yard. Now you don't have to be an electrician to know that's weird. A breaker trip's fine. But for the whole external grid, especially one running on 4 separate heavy-duty cords to go dead like that, that's sabotage. I'm not going to lie. At this point, my heart is pounding and I'm pissed. I throw on my coat, stomp into my boots, don't even bother tying them, and grab the giant flashlight, the one I usually use to scare off raccoons. December air hits me like a slap. My breath comes out in clouds. The yard is dark. The snow, which should be sparkling under all those lights, just looks sad. I tromp over to where the main cord snakes out from the garage, under the bushes, all the way to the distribution hub, right at Rudolph's front left hoof. I shine the flashlight down. And there it is. That thick orange Sub-Zero industrial cord. Cut. Not chewed, not frayed clean diagonal, straight through the copper and insulation. That wasn't some squirrel with a death wish. This was someone with a tool. Someone who meant business. I kneel down, pick up the severed ends. The copper inside is bright and shiny. Fresh. That's when the rage starts building. Someone came into my yard, got through my army of inflatables, and murdered my holiday spirit in cold blood. I stand up, gripping that dead cord like a snake, and shout into the darkness. Who's out there? Show yourself. You don't mess with a man's voltage. And then there's this snip snip sound. I swing my flashlight toward the property line. There on her porch, in all her glory, stands Brenda. She's in this floral quilted jacket that looks like it escaped from her grandma's sofa, holding a pair of garden shears as if she's about to prune the tree of life itself. She's not scared, not even guilty. She looks, I swear to you, triumphant. Turn that light off, Dave, she yells. Her voice could sour milk. I march straight up to the fence, snow crunching loud enough to wake the dead. Brenda, I say, and I'm barely holding it together. Did you just cut my power cord? She actually smirks. I pruned a weed, Dave. An ugly, noisy weed. A weed that is a 14 gauge, outdoor rated, weather resistant power cable. That's the jugular vein of Christmas. You can't just, I can barely get the words out. It was encroaching, she says, waving me off. The hum. Dave, the hum. I'm trying to align my chakras, and all I hear is your ridiculous dear. At this point, I'm trying not to laugh or scream. Brenda, the only energy flow you should be worried about is the electricity you just killed. Do you know how much that cord costs? Do you have any idea what it takes to wire up Rudolph? He's tacky, she snaps. Too bright? Nods his head like he's having a seizure. I did everyone a favor. The Johnsons down the street were talking about it just yesterday. You're lying, Brenda. Their kid calls him Rudy. You're just miserable because your kids didn't visit for Thanksgiving, and you're taking it out on my reindeer. Her eyes go cold. I know I've hit a nerve, but she doubles down. That light display is a nuisance. It flashes right into my bedroom. Psychological warfare. Dave, if you fix it, I'll cut it again. I've got all the free time in the world. Do you? I'm staring at her in disbelief. She's holding me hostage. Over Christmas lights. You're trespassing, I tell her, my arm extended over the property line. She shrugs. Technically, your cord was leaning into my airspace. Self-defense. Against visual assault. She threatens to cut more than just the cord next time. Says she's on the HOA board now, whatever that means. The shears snap shut and she vanishes inside, leaving me in the cold, holding a dead wire feeling about 2 inches tall. I look at Rudolph. Even he looks sad, standing there in the moonlight, his head drooping. I could have called the cops. Vandalism, trespassing. But I know how that'd go. Maybe you do too. They'd show up, take a report, tell Brenda to play nice. She'd get revenge later in ways only Brenda knows how. I'm not about to fight a war I can't win. Not that way. But as I'm staring down at the copper wires, a new idea creeps in. Something darker. Brenda used metal shears on a live wire. The only reason she didn't fry herself is because the breaker did its job. But she promised she'd be back. So, you know what? If she's coming for round 2, maybe it's time to even the playing field. I stomp back inside. Sarah meets me in the hallway. She looks concerned, and I must look a little unhinged. It was Brenda. I tell her she assassinated Rudolph. Sarah's eyes go wide. Is she crazy? She could have electrocuted herself. I just smile. Not this time. Dave, I know that look. Don't do anything illegal. I'm just going to focus on security. I say, heading straight to my computer. Home protection. I Google 4 words, high voltage livestock fencer. The search results are a thing of beauty. Keeps cattle in, keeps predators out. Pulse technology, safe but memorable. There's a model called the Thundershock 3000. Promises a psychological barrier. I can't help myself. I mutter perfect. Now I know enough about wires to be dangerous, but this is serious business. I scroll my contacts, find a number labeled Sparky. Only call if desperate. He's an electrician, a legend. Wired my hot tub for a bottle of bourbon and a brisket. He picks up on the third ring voice like gravel. Is your house on fire? No, it's Brenda. She cut the cord on the Christmas display. There's a long, knowing pause. The one with the chakras? That's the one. He sighs. What do you want, Dave? I'm on probation. I'm not cutting any brake lines. Nothing illegal. I just want to upgrade the system. I'm looking at a livestock fencer, need help integrating it without blowing up the block or zapping the Amazon guy. He grunts approval. You want tactile feedback for trespassers. Legally, I can't make a booby trap, but if you post warning signs, you're just a man protecting his property. We agree. He says buy the 5000 model, it has wet weather mode. You'll need it with the snow. Next morning, Sparky pulls up in his van. The man looks like a human beer keg and wears overalls stiff with grease. He gives me a nod, inspects the cut cord, and whistles. She's got good grip strength for a harpy, he says. I show him the Thundershock 5000 comes with a picture of a surprised-looking bull and a lightning bolt. You know, this puts out 10,000 volts, right? Low amps, but it'll make you see Jesus. I grin. How do we rig it? He lays it out if we make it look like a defensive enclosure and put up the legal signs we're in the clear. For the next 2 hours, my yard is a construction zone. We drive a 4-foot copper rod into the flower bed, hide the charger inside a fake rock. He runs a thin filament wire, invisible to anyone who isn't looking, spiraled around the main cord. It looks like holiday tinsel. Genius. He hands me the warning signs, danger high voltage. I post them everywhere Brenda can see. Right on the property line, on Rudolph's chest, on the cord. It looks aggressive, I say. No, it looks legal, Sparky replies. After he packs up, he tells me to call him when the cops show. I laugh, but I know he's only half joking. That night, I wait. I sit in the dark house lights off camera on a tripod. Got my popcorn. Brenda comes out for her mail, looks at the signs, laughs. She thinks I'm bluffing. Hours tick by. Finally, close to 10, her door opens. She's in a bathrobe, slippers, and shears in hand. I hit record. She marches over steps on one sign, rips another off. And then she grabs the cord with her bare hand. You know that sound when someone steps on a cat? Combine that with a bagpipe, and you've got the noise she makes. Her arm shoots back, shears fly through the air, and she does this wild river dance, shuffle slippers slipping on the ice. Doesn't fall, but ends up on her butt, stunned eyes wide. Rudolph nods at her, almost like he's proud. I lose it. Full-on belly laugh, years in the making. Of course, Brenda, never one to back down, calls the cops. Tells them I built an electric chair for her cats. Within 20 minutes, 3 squad cars light up the street. Blue and red everywhere. Sarah's peeking through the blinds, begging me not to get arrested. I throw on my coat, walk out, and play dumb suburban dad. The officers gather. Brenda, wild-eyed, points at me. He tried to kill me. A young cop named Miller tells me to step down. The Sergeant Kowalski asks what happened. I explain someone vandalized my display. I upgraded to protect it, posted the warnings all by the book. He looks at the setup, reads the signs, checks the cord, points to the shears in the snow. These yours? Nope. There's arc marks on the blades. Brenda's got a little red mark on her hand, which she shows off like a war wound. Paramedics check her out. Slight burn, elevated heart rate from anger. She'll live. Kowalski takes me aside. Between you and me, that was hilarious. But take it down tomorrow. City's not big on electrified lawn ornaments, even with signs. Understood, I say. Message delivered. He announces the show's over, tells Brenda to stay off my lawn. The neighbors clap. I head inside, lock the door. Sarah's waiting, pillow clutched. We won, I tell her. We're keeping the lights. The next morning, I follow the sergeant's orders, take down the charger, remove the signs, but Rudolph stays. Mr. Johnson, walking his dog, stops by. Heard things got a little sparky last night, he jokes. I just smile. Occupational hazard. Brenda. She's quiet. Keeps her blinds shut. Neighborhood rumor mill goes wild. By the end of the week, people are saying I installed lasers and threw Brenda across the yard with a force field. I don't bother correcting anyone. 2 days before Christmas, a delivery guy brings a package to Brenda's door. She opens it, bandage on her finger. We make eye contact over the snow. She just nods, no yelling, no threats. Just surrender. And standing there in the cold, I realize I didn't just save a reindeer. I defended my little slice of holiday joy, stood up to a tyrant, and proved that sometimes the right amount of voltage solves more than one kind of problem. That night, the lights hum softly outside. I sleep like a baby for the first time in years. In the silence, there's peace, at least until the next holiday. I hear Brenda's already planning to complain about my 4th of July fireworks. Let her try. I know a guy who installs sprinkler systems. But hey, let me ask you this. Where's the line? How far would you go to protect your peace when the rules don't keep you safe and the people in charge look the other way? Is it wrong to meet force with force? Or is there a certain justice in standing up for yourself, even if it means giving someone like Brenda a little shock to the system? Tell me, what would you have done? Ever had a neighbor like that? Share your story. I'll be here, popcorn ready, waiting for the next round.